So I'm picking up thoughts. I'm picking up energies, and it's a lot. So I shield every morning when I do part of my morning routine, and then, you know, to take care of myself. But still, I just need to have some downtime, you know, and even just going out of the house is challenging. I saw the arch to St. Louis the other day. I saw a picture of it, and it reminded me, and I was looking at photos because I went to graduate school in St. Louis, Missouri, and I had my ordination there. And I remember when I drove there, I was so afraid, this little nerdy bookworm Connecticut girl, to leave New England, because you just don't do that. Everyone's crazy outside of New England, especially those flakes in California. So, you know, you don't go, you know, it's maybe you go there on a vacation or something, but, you know, you just kind of stay back. Well, somehow, just in the course of events in my life, I ended up while I went to Massachusetts. I was first for undergraduate school and graduate, and that was like going far, to go from Connecticut to Boston. That was big city. Okay, Red Sox fan. That was big city for me. And then I was going to transfer in graduate school. I took some courses at Andover Newton and Harvard, and then took it, and then was going to transfer that and go to finish graduate school in St. Louis. So I had to drive there. I went down to South Carolina, met up with my brother, who had just gotten out of the Navy, and I stayed a bit, you know, with him, and then I had to go on to St. Louis to do graduate school. I finished, I did some chaplaincy there at a hospital. And I remember I had all my belongings packed in that car, everything that I just packed in that car. And I drove from Charleston, South Carolina to St. Louis. I wouldn't take my foot really off of the gas pedal except one night in Nashville. And I was so terrified, because as an introvert, this was so hard to step out of my comfort zone. And now I had already left New England and gone south. That was enough. Now I was driving west. Oh my God. So I remember the fear I had, but I said, you know what? I've always said fear, to jump through fear. I'm very courageous. I feel fear, and then I just push through it, like there's like the buffalo. I just push through it, and I remember holding that wheel so hard, saying, okay, I'm just going to keep driving. I'm going to get there, and then just seeing the arch. And I said, I made it. Gateway to the West. I made it. And I remember when I pulled into the parking lot of the seminary, and I just sat there and I cried. I had to let out all this energy. I said, okay, you're all right. Talked myself down. You're all right. You're okay. You made it. You made it in one piece. You're okay. Everything's going to be all right now.
The relief tears.
Yeah. And now, so then you're probably wondering how I made it to Europe.
Oh my gosh.
But that was, just getting to St. Louis was really a big thing. To get halfway across the country was really a challenge. Really a challenge. But yeah. So, you know, the buffalo. When there's a storm, cows run away from a storm, or walk away as fast as they can from a storm. But when there's a storm, buffalo naturally go into the storm. So they actually experience less of the storm because they're not being chased by it.
Oh.
They actually the buffalo will walk into a storm, and therefore they come through the storm quicker.
So they go into the storm and then get out of it instead of having it chase them down.
Right.
And
Then it's not constantly behind them and after them. Yeah. And then they're not overwhelmed by it from the rear.
There's another animal to take off. I always heard that eagles, when there's a hurricane, they fly into the eye of the hurricane. Just for fun.
Yeah.
Imagine that. That's crazy.
So there you know. You got a buffalo up and eagle up.
Yeah. Wow. So what is your biggest passion, like, through everything that you've been through and all of your journeys? What have you discovered about yourself?
Well, I really have this heart, this passion for, it's a combination of healing and transforming people and helping people to find their greatness. And that is a very healing and transforming thing. So I have always been involved. First, it was on, I guess you could say, a lay level, involved in my local church, and just always a compassionate person. People come to me and they tell me their secrets. And I mean, they're big, serious stuff. Even some of the things I heard as a teenager, you know, I don't know that I would want my child to hear, you know. But people would come to me and really confess things because they needed someone to talk to about things who was not going to condemn them. I think you can make judgments. Judgment is a decision, but condemnation is a different thing. But they knew they could come to me and tell me things, and I would be straight up and very direct. Well, you know that blah, 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 or this, or yeah, blah, blah. But that I still love them, that I still respected them. And so they would tell me things. And it went through into college, where I ended up getting involved in a church and teaching the senior high Sunday school and being involved in Habitat for Humanity. And so because I don't want people to be homeless. And so that kind of a thing. And then realizing I have this gift for counseling people, you know, I've always known that. So after, you know, was ordained, and I didn't want to work in a church. That wasn't my heart. And I had already started traveling overseas to do overseas humanitarian work, some church related, some not. So I was doing teaching English, math, things like crafts and things like that. And I was also helping literally build a building, build a sidewalk around in a rural area, or end of town, where they were very poor, and helping to mix cement and build a sidewalk, or climbing up on scaffolding, afraid of heights, and painting a building, or putting on a roof, or whatever I could do physically, literally getting down there in the trenches, because that's what they said that they needed. That's what they said that they wanted. So, and you give people what they need, not what you think they need. You give people what they say they need. And then if there is something that they do need, they're more likely to let you know, and it's that thing that you know that they also need. But always give people what they say they need.
Yeah.
So they needed a sidewalk. We came down and we built a sidewalk. They needed a new, school building. They needed books. They needed academic supplies. I mean, I've packed suitcases full of packs of paper from, Office Depot and Staples, and boxes and boxes and boxes of pencils, and sharpeners and erasers and things like that, because they needed that. You never know what it's like to have little kids who didn't have their own pencils climbing literally up your body because you have pencils in your hand.
Oh, wow.
And they're so like, a pencil. I mean, that was incredible experiences. So I had gone and done things like that. And then I decided, okay, I think I need to start doing something that involves being able to help people with counseling, but how am I going to do this? Didn't really know. So then I had what's a very typical entrepreneur experience. I was working a temp job at a hospital here in San Diego, and I got fired just because she wanted all of us out of the office. She just fired us all. So I went home. I was not happy. I had many, many blue words to say in the car on the way home. And I got in the apartment and I shut the door and sat on that couch and said, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I said, the rent is due in 17 days. How am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to pay this and that? What am I going to do? And then I just got angry. I said, why in the world does somebody else have the right to tell me whether or not, and to control whether or not I can pay my bills? I don't want a life like this. This isn't going to happen anymore. So what educations do I have? What resources do I have? What skills and knowledge? What interests? What hobbies? What do I have? Wrote everything down. And they said, okay. So, and what else have I got? I've got a phone. I've got a laptop and a PC. And I've got the internet. All right. Somebody's going to pay me. People want to talk to me. they're going to pay me. They want my knowledge. They want my help. They're going to pay me. And I sat down that night, taught myself how to do HTML, because remember, there was no like site already. Then it was HTML land. Mm-hmm. So I sat down that night and taught myself HTML enough to build myself a website with about 5 or 6 pages. And then I think I only used 3 of the pages on it. And then I found a payment system online. I said, it's got to be that somebody, what are these 800 numbers? I said, people can call you and then you're getting paid per minute or whatever. So I did. I found a payment system that people could call this 800 number. So my number was hidden, and then I would get paid. I didn't even mind about the hidden. I just wanted to get paid, so that they call, I got paid per minute or per minutes. And that was it. So that's exactly what I did. I had that site up and I was working it by morning. And I put another site up for something else. First, the one site was for coaching. I said, it's kind of like a coaching, but not physical. Mm-hmm. Coaching people, counseling people. And the other site was very directly astrology and tarot. And then one site was for those who I knew, because some people can't handle being that direct, about it. And I said, so the others, I'll just do it from a spirituality perspective, give them spiritual direction, spiritual guidance, and in whatever they need, whether it's their career, their personal life, relationships, finances, things, whatever. And yeah, in 17 days, I made $1,762 and some change.
How did you, you said ever since you were a child, you were always very intuitive. How did you really fine-tune that spiritual side of you to be able to just one day go, you know what, if you want to speak to me, you gotta pay me money. And then get it done?
Well, a lot of people who are intuitive, they don't know they are. First of all, it's typically an introvert. You're an empath. And typically you don't know it. Most people don't know it when they're small. Someone may recognize it in them. When I look back, I realized, and I asked my mother later, there are adults who they do realize it about a child. And whether or not they say something, what I was told was, I know you can see what's inside, but don't tell them. Tell me when we get home, And then I was told, don't be upset with people when they say something that is not true, because they don't know how you know it. And it was again, tell me when we get home. So I'd have someone to tell it to, because children are honest.
Yeah.
Wait till you have children. Children are honest. And mm-hmm. I had times where I actually said to an adult, you're a liar. 6 years old, you're a liar. Because I would know that they'd be saying one thing with their mouth, but I knew that it was not true, that they'd either not been to or done something, said something, or were even thinking something. Or sometimes I simply knew that a person was not a good person. I knew, and so I really knew to stay away from them. Right? I kind of know there was an intention there that wasn't something that I wanted to be around. So no one's really saying anything about it. Then I was involved for a little time in more conservative churches, Protestant churches, and they call it, and there's a verse in the Greek scriptures where they call it the gift of discernment. Mm. That's talking about intuition.
Yeah.
So I was asked quite often, would I be willing to, for example, counsel women in the church, and use the gift that way. And it was only really getting into my 20s where I started paying attention to the things I'd been taught or given by my mother, especially when I was younger. Things like she gave me Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich when I was 6 or 8.
Wow.
I was reading that. I was reading pretty much everything. If it wasn't nailed down and nailed shut, I was reading it. So I was reading those books. I was reading Science of Growing Rich. I was reading all these things that new thought, things like that. I was already reading those things and knew those things and believed in those things. It's not even a belief. I just was like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Like I knew about, yeah, you could ask for this and you were going to get it, because that's how the universe works. You ask and you get it. You don't always get it when you want, but you get it. Ask for a Barbie doll. It might not show up on that Monday, but it could show up by Friday.
Yeah.
You know, it always would come. So and then I was like, oh, this is intuition. You know, so then I kind of knew, but I still brushed it really to the background. I never really got, and I don't know if you have to, I never got formal training on it. I just came to know to be careful with it, because people have a right to present a public face. They have a right to only present so much of themselves to you. So long as they are not doing something malevolent, it is all right for them to not reveal all of themselves. We all need our public face.
Yeah.
So I basically learned how to shield, so I didn't take in everyone's energy and get worn out by it. Because what happens, you take in the energy, and then you're trying to, for me at least, you're trying to figure out, how can I, ooh, there's a wound there, how can I heal that? Ooh, there's a wound there, how can I heal that? Ooh, that's the area where they're really hurting, how can I heal that? And because I'd already also had a counseling background through the psychology courses I'd been taking, and the even just I was involved in training to deal with victims of sexual assault and rape, trauma, dealing with PTSD. My chaplaincy training, which is clinical training on a hospital team, dealing with the spiritual care, and I just try to deal with people as they are, and I may know they need to, they may need something else, but I deal with them as they are. No formal training. I guess you can formally train it. I see there's courses out there. I don't know that I would ever pay for someone to train me to use it in that sense. Mm-hmm. It's just natural. Astrology is not intuitive. Astrology has nothing to do with intuitive. Astrology is mathematical. It's astronomy. And they only separated astrology out, meaning taking a component, combining it with Western psychology or Eastern in terms of Vedic astrology, in the last century and a half. But it's mathematical calculations involving planets, asteroids, constellations, angles, aspects, things like that. And what has come to be is that the astronomers, astrologers have come to see over time consistently the general theme of the same things happen when these certain movements are taking place: aspects, transits, a planet in a sign, all kinds of things. And then they've been able to actually predict things because of that. Tarot is intuitive. Tarot, what that really does is, I can take a tarot card and the symbol. I know what that particular card means, and then I will just get messages. And the combination of them, I can say, okay. Someone will ask me for a reading, and I'll read it, and I'll say, okay, well, so I see, and then, is this happening? And I'll ask, because it's harsh you're caring for someone's spirit. You don't want to say, you're having an affair and you're doing, they won't be able to take in what they need to know and what they need to learn. So I say, okay, so is this kind of thing happening? Or they may ask me about something that has nothing to do with the spread that came out, and then I know Spirit's really speaking, or God, if you want to say, to tell them, okay, here's the important thing you're needing to know about right now. So my intuition can be activated very much, but a lot of times it's just, and I sit and I'm quiet and I listen and take it in. And I just kind of let it guide me like that. I mean, and it's led into other things with healing that I don't advertise myself as doing, but I can, like dealing with chakras, which are energy centers in your body, from head down to in your crotch. You have your root chakra and your crown chakras up here. So I can do Reiki, so I have healing hands. So I send Reiki to people. I can actually pick up their body. They can be around the world and send Reiki to certain areas if they have certain diseases or illnesses and things like that. And they'll report, some changes, having done that. Or you can do Reiki with people in person, but that's something on a very personal level. But all of these things are spiritual kinds of things. And I give just people spiritual guidance in the form of just the counsel. And sometimes it can be premarital counseling or marriage counseling. And I go with how people can understand it, use the terms they can understand, so that they can basically be their best selves, live their fullest life, find their greatness. I really like to see people lifted up, really lifted up. And I like children best in the world because basically they come to you with, they don't have all those wounds typically unless they've been wounded. Yeah. They don't have all those wounds. They're very, very innocent and they're very naive, and they just come at you and they just want love. Yeah. That's all they want is love. And I want to be someone that they remember that they just, when they came near me, they just got love. Yeah.
So before we go into what you're doing for children, what would your best advice be for people who are intuitive, for A, trusting the intuition, and then B, guarding it?
My best advice for guarding it would be specifically learn how to shield your energy.
Is that different for everyone, or?
No, it's not. Just there are techniques you can use to shield your energy from head to foot before you go out into the world. Even when you get up in the morning, and it doesn't block you from feeling anything from people. It means it just protects your energy. So I would say learn to shield and to take care of yourself, and that means too you need to eat regular intervals. You need to make sure you're hydrated. Very important to be hydrated, and shield your energy to protect. In terms of using it, you mean, or using their energy? I would say, if you want to be someone who's working professionally with your intuition, you of course need to know how to shield, and then you always need to respect this other spiritual being who's on this same human journey like you are. You need to respect that person, and always want their best, and trust that sometimes you don't always know their best, but leave that up to spirit, because you can never control someone. And it's also very much you will be alone. You will be very solitary in your life, because it's a lot of information, and it's a lot to process. But I definitely think that people who have the gift naturally, who are empaths, need to take care of themselves, need to do this, because people who are narcissists will gravitate toward you like that. Sociopaths and narcissists will gravitate to you immediately to be the energy or psychic vampire and suck energy out of you. So you shield yourself, and then swipe to the side.
Is meditation a good way to shield?
Meditation is an excellent way. Yes, meditation is an excellent way. Meditation and mindfulness are very, very helpful to be able to, just everyone for their health. It's very much. I will tell you that when I shield, I visualize. I actually visualize a multi-layer chainmail around me. It's head to foot, and it's over me and under me. And so it's in all directions, and I actually visualize it. It wraps around me one way and then another way, and then in all different directions, so that I am totally shielded and it moves with me. It's breathable, and I visualize myself breathing in and out with it. And breathing is also a way to do this.
Yeah.
And then I just go with my shield. And if I'm in a room and there are just people that I feel, energies, I'll even carry a cup right here, or a book right here, have a piece of paper or something, even covering my solar plexus, my power. Your solar plexus is your chakra that will power, energy center of power. So I will do that, so there's no, just block you off from that. See, yeah. Yeah, yep.
So visualization is very, very powerful. I know a lot of people take that for granted and think it's all woo-woo silly stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've
outlasted many people who think things are woo-woo.
So we have some comments over here. We'll get to that, and then we'll get to your book there you just flashed us. So Derek says, "Sup, Beck? What's up, Derek? Hope you enjoyed your honeymoon and your wedding. Congratulations." That's the boss man of the studio here.
Oh, hi, boss man.
And then Charles Kudlaw's giving us a thumbs up, and it looks like we had some sound issues there in the beginning, but I think we're all good now. So thank you, Jeff and Kim, for letting us know that we were having audio issues.
Oh, okay.
Whoops.
Did we do something different?
It could have just been a broadcasting.
Oh.
It's been one of those days with we took a while to get started because I was faffing around with the cameras. We're having some issues.
We were faffing. Yeah, we were faffing.
We overcame, and we're here.
Yes.
So.
And and we're here. So yeah, but that's my into, bringing all that into entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very tricky thing, and I was basically one of the very first, doing astrology and tarot online, like especially with the tarot, really putting that out there, teaching people tarot, and it was years later before I would teach anyone how to do it as a business. Mm-hmm. And that only came after saying, oh, wow, I know that person doesn't know what they're doing, because look at that explanation they're putting up there. People are making this up. And so I kind of took it on as, I should teach people. So I have actually one course. It's an online course called Grow Your Tarot Business, which I really do need to revamp or add more to make some changes, which I will, which is basically about taking tarot and combining it with B School, essentially, the business essentials. And so I want to update it with, because social media has entered the picture and changed things. So I really want to make sure that I integrate that into it. I haven't done one specifically for astrology, but I really should do that. But what I have done is put together one that is also for just the spiritual entrepreneur, because you really need some guidance. And because you don't have to be a spiritual entrepreneur and be poor. And you also, you can be ethical, and you can be ethical, and you can be profitable.
Yeah.
And actually help people. If this is really your passion. I don't like gurus. So, but we're talking about, want to share a little bit about my book, and this actually came out of being an entrepreneur and wanting women especially to have a voice, mm-hmm. and to start really using their entrepreneurial skills. Because I thought of how many women were sitting there, but it's really anybody, it's men or women. How many people, why in the world should somebody be able to tell you on Friday, don't show up for work on Monday, that's it. You have no more, and I really think just don't let it happen. I made such a strong emphasis about it, shall we say. Let's just say Creator and I had a conversation, and it was a really tough conversation where I said, I will never allow this to happen again. I will never take a job meaning I think working for someone is just pretty much dirt. You know, I mean, I know we have to have people working in some service and some jobs, but I mean, in general, we need to get out of the Industrial Revolution because it ended. The Industrial Revolution, where you work for someone who promises to take care of you in your old age, doesn't work anymore. We are in the digital age of the technological revolution. We went from industrial to technological, and then within that, we are now solidly in the digital age. It's digital. So you need to be working most people need to be working online in some way. They need to be working via the internet.
Whenever I'm like looking online for something or like Googling stuff and you'll bring up a business and they don't have a website, I'm like,
yeah,
how am I supposed to know who you
It's
are?
one page. It's one page. It's WordPress, and it's a free theme.
Yeah.
That you only have to slap up that one page, and be able to sell people. And I know people who are saying, "Oh, but I don't have one." But yeah. And then I look and I ask, "Okay, so yeah, how are you doing financially?" Well, you know, I'm getting there, and the goddess such and such is going to have. You don't have a web page, and you don't have an income, and you're complaining about it. Come on, put up a page.
Yeah.
So put up a page and make a presence. You can always go and make, you know, free landing pages and all those kinds of things. But there are lots of things to do. But there's definitely, you know, a system for all that. But I really wanted for women to begin to have more of a voice and to get out there and do what I did. I mean, get out there and start traveling. When I was doing all this traveling and going places, scared to death, holding the steering wheel, I went from Missouri, by the way, to California and then over to Europe. And I lived in Denmark. I just got back from living in Denmark in end of 2016. And so basically I spent, you know, I basically spent over a decade there. And who would have thought I'd end up living in Copenhagen, Denmark? And I mean, I have worked and lived in Jerusalem, Cairo, Chimaltenango in Guatemala, Dominica, which is an island in the Caribbean, and then of course in Denmark for so long, and then being able to travel around Europe, and while doing that, been able to work because I had a phone and a laptop. Or in the beginning just had the phone, and then had the addition of a laptop, and you know how heavy those were when those first came out. So then even to get a smaller one. But all these things are possible to be able to work from anywhere and leave a legacy, because that's what it's all about for me, is being able to have the freedom that you asked a lesson that I've learned. I really came to know myself and understand I'm a woman who wants to be free. I am actually very much a homebody, and I love family, and I'm an awesome cook, and I'm very much the nurturer, but I'm also very independent. I'm going to do it my way. And I like my freedom. Say, you know what? I need a break. I got to go to Europe for 2 weeks. I got to go here for 3 weeks. I got to have a weekend away. You know, I've got to have my space, and that's the introvert in me. I've got to, you know, I got to be able to exercise this part of myself. So I really wanted people to have that ability to work from anywhere and leave a legacy. So I've actually put together a program for that. People signing up to learn from me the entrepreneurial skills, and to come at it from a spiritually aligned position, because there are people out there teaching, oh yeah, just here, you know, do this thing and do that thing, these technological things, and there's no real heart or passion behind it. And they're even saying, oh yes, well, you can, you know, live out your passion, live your dream, and they still aren't helping people with the spiritual alignment of it. And that's what makes me unique, is getting at what they're getting at, the spiritual end of it, because I believe there is a spiritual way to negotiate and spiritual preparation for yourself. And I don't care what religion you're practicing, but there's just in the spiritual realm, being able to do business from a spiritually aligned position, I think really helps you to be able to excel in business. And the leaving a legacy part is because you need to leave a piece of you in this world, something that's of your essence. And so it can be anything, anything in the world. For me, part of it is a big part because I know I'm going to be scaling down. Like what I want at some point is just to have, enough residual income that is coming in. And what I really want to be known for 100 years when they look back at me, I want people to have a collection of books of this little character, Lori Leak. This is my first children's book. Lori Leak travels to Paris. And in each book, she travels or will be traveling to a major city around the world. And I did this with another woman who was an expat, at the time. I was in Copenhagen. She was in Rome. We met online while we were taking a course or part of a group that was learning how to make courses online. And she did the illustrations, and then I wrote the story. Well, I had written the story, so it's lovely. I don't know if you can see. They're getting off the airplane in Paris. And it's an African-American girl and family. And the neat thing is that the illustrations, they're me and my family. We used my parents and me. We used photos and actually, and then, built around them. So it was really nice. And then used photos that I had from Paris. I love Paris. So it's a story in which, you're learning, the children are learning geography. They're learning about being a part of a family. They're learning about other cultures and things that are particular to those cultures. In here, for example, learning about, there's a waiters race that a lot of people don't know. There's a waiters race that happens every year. Learning about, of course, things like the Eiffel Tower, but also about things like her mother goes and has a spa day at the Ritz. Ooh. And the Ritz in Paris is just, it's she. But also learning about things like how she gets the baker at the bakery near the apartment they're staying in, teaches her how to make a baguette.
I want to learn how to make baguette.
It's just, she's a fascinating little girl based on me, and she's intelligent, she's curious, she is she's spunky, she gets into things and she discovers things, and I really like that that's there because here's another. This is a terrible statistic. Something like it's 87% of children's books feature a protagonist who is an Anglo boy. 87%. That's shameful. That means the publishers are doing it, because it's not the writers, it's the publishers. Publishers are determining, and they'll say, because it's not what's, don't do that. That's unethical. You have decided that children should only be reading about Anglo boys and their dogs. And that's really not fair. Half of children are girls. Okay? So, and then out of that 13%, that's left, out of that, a very small percentage of them are girls of color. It's kind of after that, they'll even go for inanimate objects and animals and Anglo girls, and then then it's bottom of the totem pole. I think Native American girls get 1%. So I really want to change this. So it is my decision that my legacy will be. I want the women to be creating their legacy, whatever their business is going to be, something that is their passion in their heart, to be able to make money from it, support themselves if they want to support their families too, but be able to create their dream life and have a much better life. And for the girls to know that they can get out there and do and be whatever they want to be. And I think that Lori Leak says that, you know, because this girl is traveling. She's going. I mean, wow. So 50 cities around the world. I've had some offers from people in Hong Kong, Australia, India, to come and visit them, stay with them, and they will take me around to take the photos for the book. And what I would like to do then is I will feature them in the book. So I would take pictures of them and that family, or that whatever that host is, that host will also become an animated character in the book.
That's super cool.
And it will tell, you know, whatever, you know, foods that are particular to that country or culture, and places and ways of doing things, or, you know, like the next one's Copenhagen. And I'll just say one thing, it won't give away the whole book, but there will be Christmas in July.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
check that one out.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, Lori Leak is really important to me in terms of, that's my particular legacy. And I mean, I do want to have the legacy of having supported women through entrepreneurship, helping them to live their dream, and to do it anywhere, that they should be able to work anywhere, that there should be constantly money coming into their bank account, and that they should be able to travel and go somewhere and not have to worry. So it's always coming in, because life can happen. I mean, I've had, and I want to be really honest, so, you know, not honest, I'm never dishonest, just not necessarily open. I want to make sure that I'm very clear with people, because we have, in this entrepreneurial world we have now also, and it's all over Facebook and all over Instagram, you have so many people yelling at you about how you can get the 7-figure income and the 6-figure income, and they're just sitting here and they're making it look like they're living these incredible lives. Now, I look good when I walk out the door, because that's my thing. I like to have it together when I walk out the door. It is personally important to me, and everyone needs, like I said, their public face, their dignity. So, you know, I mean, I know when a woman is, she's putting her best foot out there, and I'm going to honor that, and I'll say so. Or a man's doing that. You know, he's he may not have a lot of money, but he's making sure that what he's got, you know, is looking good, and his hair is done, you have to give people that. But there are people who are just really struggling, and I've had my down, so I should be very open about. I've had my really low lows was landing in a homeless shelter, and very tough to get out of that. But yeah, getting out of it, because you actually can, if you know what to do to get out of that situation. And a lot of times people don't know what to do, and you might have to do it all by yourself. I had a situation where I didn't have very close family at all, and I ended up getting separated out from them because I told a family secret. There was abuse that went on against children, and I blew the whistle. And I would do it again if you told me to do it, and said, oh, this is going to happen to you, though. If you do that, I would still do it. I'd blow the whistle 3 times as loud. I would use social media to get the result I got, which is removing the kids from the abuser. Mm-hmm. I would do whatever it took now to make it, get some results even faster. But doing that separated me from them. So then when he was my half brother, he knew nothing about any of that. He was diagnosed with cancer, and he was dying. We were like this. He was my big brother. Big, like, running back guy, and very, very manly man. And I just loved him to pieces. And he was kind of my protector in life, stand between me and anything really bad that could happen. And then he died. But while he was dying, my mother was having catastrophic illness of heart attacks, strokes, brain bleeds, falling, all kinds of things. Buried my brother, and 3 days later came back, and I had a part-time job, which I had to have for my residence permit when I was living in Denmark, and they fired me. I was like, I just buried my brother. You're kidding me, right? So it was catastrophic. And then I basically couldn't keep stable because I was grieving. Those are major things to happen to you. Don't take it lightly. Someone says, "Oh, you'll get over it." Tell them to go away. That's not a friend.
Yeah.
So eventually I ended up crashing, and long story short, ended up homeless in a homeless shelter saying, "Who am I? What am I doing? I've done all these things and blah, 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 blah." And for me, it came down to, I really heard Creator telling me, okay, yes, you have given all of this for, 20 years or more. You've been giving. Now you're going to have to receive. You have just given, your cup is empty. You need to not give. You need to just take, accept from people and just take. And so for the last few years, it's been that. And then I also felt Spirit telling me, and look at what you have told people to do, and look at what you've done. How did you first do this? So I literally went back and said, okay, well, these are the things that I did, for example, in the morning to get myself together. This is how I run my day, and these are the thoughts in my head, and these are the actions, and blah, blah, blah. And it all came down to, I said, yeah, this is my millionaire morning. This is what took me from, I not only went from $100 a day in the beginning, in 6 months, I did my first million as an entrepreneur. That was, I just blew myself away. I had went from zero to my first million in like 6 months. So I sat back in the last year and said, okay, so how did I do this? Well, here's what I did. So I said, okay, I'll just give this information to people. So I've written it down. I'm almost done putting it in a book, and I'm just going to give the information to people for free. Your Millionaire Morning. How, and I'm practicing every single morning those same things, doing those things, because it actually does. That's what, when I was scared to death saying, how am I going to pay the bills? This is what I did in addition to getting up and doing the calls or whatever, sitting in a forum or talking to someone online, whatever I needed to do. There were certain habits I had to do to keep my mind, body, and spirit together, so that every day I go, okay, yeah, I can do this. I'm going to do this. And I'm not a salesperson. I'm not an extrovert. And I really don't want to deal with people, but I can handle here on the phone or on the computer. Mm-hmm. So combining those things. So I'll put that out. I'll make sure that I'll get a link to you or something for you.
Yes, I would definitely love a copy. And if I heard that correctly, you said you're giving it away? I'm
giving it away. It'll be free. You just have to pay the shipping and handling.
Okay.
It would be a little softcover booklet that about 45 pages. And so it'll just be free. And I think the shipping is like $7 or $8 or something. So I'll just give that away for free, because yes, you should charge. The worker is always worth the wages, but there's some things you can give away for free,
Yeah,
There's just,
I like that.
I feel like I've only lived like half my life, and I'm looking forward to the other half, but I feel like I've done so much and I've been given so much. There's so much to give. There still is so much to give back to people, but I'm being very careful, because I know Creator says, okay, you can't give out of nothing. Be careful about how much you're giving out now. Give, and then be sure you have people from whom you're receiving.
Yeah, I think it's okay to, give some freebies here. And especially with things like that, there are people who are paying thousands of dollars to get that type of information.
Yes, and that's, I'm kind of a little, we were talking offline about this, a little disgruntled about that. I don't like, I'll just say it, I don't like this, you're going to pay a marketing guru $15,000 for, or even $9,000 for information that, come on, it's not proprietary information. It's simply the systems, the things to do, to put this, So if I get fired up enough, Rebecca, I'll just write it all out myself and just put it out there for free and say, come on, snap it up.
Sounds like that's what you're doing.
Because I really, because I just don't see, I can't see doing that. I really do believe, I guess it's sort of like with the the Microsoft Office. You know, someone came and created, was that Open Libre or something, some sort of a open, there's a whole free resource you can buy that basically duplicates Word, PowerPoint, and Excel.
Oh, I just
And
use
you
Google.
can download it for free onto your onto your computer.
Oh,
so then you
okay.
don't have to pay for Microsoft Office. If you don't have to pay them, you know, if you can't afford that, you can actually then still do the things that you need to do. Because this is something, it's become common. It's like saying, well, you know, you should have to pay this huge amount for, I think even think in terms of a car. People need a car now. People need things that become commonplace in society, that become a part of the everyday life. I don't see why it should be held to elite prices. Now, you don't necessarily need a Tesla. You just need a car.
Yeah.
You know, and when Henry Ford, and I love reading about people like Henry Ford, but when he started it, did you know that his philosophy was every worker in that factory on the assembly line needed to be able to afford one of the cars.
Yeah.
So we've gotten way far away from that.
Now it's like just being able to afford a payment plan.
Yes, I know. It's absolutely amazing. But he's an interesting person to read about. And I'm not talking about on a personal level, but Ford. You have to read about these barons. Ford, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, J. Paul Getty. Now, on a personal level, they may have just been, but look at how they made money, how they got from, because Carnegie, he was basically listening while he was working in a train, in a dirty, sooty train. He was listening and getting stock tips. Okay? So this is a lot of this. I just read something on the way here that there's a woman in New York died in 2016. And she gave 92 million or billion to an organization. She was a secretary till she was 96, and then she retired at 96 from a law firm as the secretary, and died shortly thereafter, and left this mammoth inheritance. Nobody knew. No one in her family even knew she had all this money. You know what she did? Because she was one of the old-time secretaries who, a good secretary, I think, runs her boss's life. That's why you pay her. That's why you pay her six figures, because she runs your life. She was making sure his flowers were, birthday gifts were sent, flowers were sent, appointments were met, things were handled, whatever. And he would have her buy his stock. So whatever stock he bought, she bought some. She bought less, of course, because she didn't have as much money, but she bought all the stocks he bought and made her own fortune. That's how you do it. This is how people like Carnegie and Mellon and all that. Now, what they do later and, how Wall Street is run and all of that, that's separate from people wanting to know these are wealthy people. You need to read about wealthy people. You need to read about Oprah Winfrey. You need to read about how they lived their lives, things that they did, because these are the ways. When you begin to fill your mind, it's changing your mindset. You want to have a rich mindset, a wealthy mindset, an abundant mindset.
Yeah.
And this is how you learn, by reading those stories, not by reading all about the fiery complaints of the 99% and the 1%. At the end of the day, after you've done that, you've read all those articles, and then you've gotten out there and you've protested. At the end of the day, how much more money is in your bank account because of doing that? So try it again the next day. How much money at the end of the day is in your bank account after doing that? And and ask yourself, is this the life that I want, or is there another life that I want? And if I have money in my bank account, how much can I be giving to these organizations that I really like? Even, for example, all right, so you're saying, okay, well, this organization, so if you're actually investing in yourself by getting your business going, doing something that you really love, and you amass money, that's money you have to give to that organization that you think does such a great job with whatever it is. So it's kind of like there you're giving back.
Yeah.
So you need, and all this, because it's not about accumulating just to be able to squander it. A lot of people are flashing it online. Oh yeah, we're in Mexico this weekend at a wedding. Oh yeah, we're up in the mountains at the such and such. Or here, we're on the red carpet here. Or, oh yeah, we're going over there. And all these, that's kind of how you can tell new money versus old money. Because new money is just,
hey, look at me.
yeah, and you don't do that. But if you're amassing this money, then you have money to give back. Whether it's that you leave it at the end of your life or that you're giving it, along the way, or helping start some wonderful organizations or funding ones that are already in existence. But I mean, that's the point of because you can't take the money with you. Clearly,
No.
you won't live on, but your legacy will.
Yeah. And, there's the, say, giver's gain.
Yes.
So
yes.
Contributing, obviously there's karma, it comes back to you in some way.
And the people that you meet, I mean, along the way, if you're giving, you're constantly giving and putting out positive energy and thinking, today I got a lovely surprise. I'm reading my, I'd posted something on my Instagram, a little a mantra by this actress, Jennifer Lewis. And she's wonderful. She's on a television show called Blackish. And I've seen her on lots of films. She's wonderful. She's written a book called The Mother of Black Hollywood. And she's on a book tour now for it. And I put up this a video of her singing this song that I won't sing because it has a curse word in it. But it was like, yeah, you go. I mean, she's very, she's real. She's very real. And I really like her. And I just had it up there, and it's been up there a couple of days. And I said, yeah, everyone, I put it up last Monday. I said, here's a Monday mantra for you, And she found my posting. And she said, thank you.
Oh, love that.
I mean, I'm so honored to have gotten the attention. Yeah. I'm so honored to have gotten the attention of Jennifer Lewis. Wow.
That's really
cool. And that just made my day,
Yeah.
So then I put up there I put the link to, she has a posting of all her book tour dates. I was like, come on, people, buy her book and get out to see her, and I put the link there. And that's what you need to do, constantly be giving, because you never know who's watching you. You never know who's going to see you. You never know who you'll come into contact with. I mean, I've actually met and come into contact with celebrities, or what people think of celebrities or famous people, all my life because of my family. They were very well known. I mean, and I was blessed actually to come from a family that we did pretty well. I mean, honestly, I didn't lack for anything growing up. Didn't know anything, The only thing is we didn't talk about money. And you must talk about money. You must talk about money to your children. You must talk about it to your spouse. You need to have a date with wine and your budget every Friday.
And not just in the terms of we can't afford it.
Right. You need in terms of here's what we got coming in, here's what we want, here's what we're paying in taxes, here's what we're doing. Everything. Got to talk about money all the time. Stop calling it filthy. Stop saying it's bad. You've got to love money. If you've got to go and take everything you got, take what you got in your savings, and come and on Fridays just throw it up in $1 bills all around the table. It's money. And you can always multiply your money,
Yeah.
But you've got to, whatever if you're hating on it, how's it going to stay with you? So you really have to love money, and you got to love people who make money. You can't hate rich people and then say, I want money. You got to say, wow, I might not like, I might not like what they're doing, with it, but I sure do like that they had this sense of, okay, let me do this. There's a lot of rappers, I guess, rappers, hip hop. I'll listen to like their first and then maybe their second thing that comes out, and some of it's very violent, a lot of shooting, murders, and pimps and hoes and all kinds of stuff going on. And what I say to myself is, okay, this person's experience of life is this, and they're telling us through this poetic form that this is still happening in their neighborhood. So we need to know that. But on a personal level, for me, I usually give it the second album. After the second album of it, I don't want to hear any of that more from you. I want to know that you are doing some other kinds of things, because now you've had the ability to connect with some people who can just love you. Now you have the ability to get into entrepreneurship. You have the ability to make more money, so you never have to go back to that. Now you have the ability to give money to an organization or create one in that neighborhood that you came out of to make things better. So don't give me 6 albums of gun shooting, pimp, and hoe stuff. 2 albums,
Yeah.
and that's it.
I think you haven't said it, but throughout the last little while that we've been talking about people with money, you know, whether you like them or not, those people who have money, they have money because they've found a problem and created a solution for people.
Problem,
so we can
solution.
complain about whatever it is all you want.
Yes.
And I think that's what I love about you too, is you've found things that have disgruntled you or upset you, but you've turned it into something like
Yes.
Lori Leaks.
Yes.
Your
really,
Millionaire
yes.
morning book.
Yes, I mean, so there's not that many, girls of color in children's books. Okay, so I'll make one.
Ta-da!
Okay, yeah, it's even like there are not that many American women who are even traveling just to travel, say to Europe and around the world. So I'm all about getting a group of women together. You want to go on a trip? I'll handle the logistics. I'll book us on the planes, into the hostels and hotels and get the experiences. I'll book it. Pony up the money and I will book it and we will go. If this is important to you, because you meet people from other cultures.
Yeah.
And it expands your world. There are women from all these different countries, primarily, and some men, mostly women. Most of my circles are women. And then men, who they have totally changed my life. And I've come into contact with them from other cultures. There's a wonderful man I can think of in the Netherlands. He's just, he always has something positive to say. And I know that if I need assistance with something he can help with, he certainly will do it. There's another person. I encountered him online. I encountered all these people online. And then I went in places to meet them in person. Another one, he's from Mexico, and he's in Switzerland right now. Incredible. I'll say he's a banker. Another woman that I connected with online through LinkedIn years ago. And the way the world has worked, we are both now in California. And she's Dutch. Of course, a lot of people who are Danish. And then I met a lot of people from around the world there. There's one woman, I just call her, she's like my little sister. She's from Tanzania. And just, wow. And in fact, going to Denmark was the place where I finally, for the first time, I met people from African countries, from the continent of Africa. And for me, I was like, wow. To just put my hands on the sides of their faces and see, oh my gosh, yes, this land is real. It was just absolutely amazing for me. And I speak English, Danish, and French. Come on, learn another language. Mm-hmm. It opens up so much. I'm going to write a book on Hygge too. I'm almost done with that.
Oh.
Hygge is a Danish concept of coziness or intentional intimacy in living it. And it's why you see all these beautiful things in Danish society and why they get labeled as the happiest people on earth and mm-hmm. things like that. Hygge is a Danish concept that really we could use here about living a more simpler, stress-free life. And there were a lot of apparently storm of books about it at one point, last year. So now the storm's quieted down. So I'm just going to do another little free book on it and give it away. Just pay the shipping and handling and have your hygge in your hands.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Lori Leaks goes to Paris. Where else is she going to be going to?
Copenhagen is next, and then Washington, D.C. And we already have a photo of her, and this is like, that'll kind of be telling a bit of a reminiscing story, because we already have the photo of her sitting in the Oval Office with former President Obama. She and 44 got along famously.
I'll bet.
Okay, so yeah. So and then after that, actually, she's coming to San Diego and Hong Kong.
Nice, love it.
So I know that those are like the first 5 books: Paris, Copenhagen, Washington, D.C., Hong Kong, so, and San Diego. So yes.
Okay.
So, and catch all the, famous places, things that you should see, things that you should do. I mean, she's got to have a fish taco when she's here, of course.
Of course, yeah.
I
margarita, but
yes.
she's not old enough for that.
Well, her parents can have the margarita.
Okay.
They'll have it at Hotel Del.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'll have it at Hotel. And they're going to go kayaking, kayaking down in La Jolla Cove. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I love that.
There's lovely little places. So, yeah. And I think it helps, having people involved in it also makes it very real. Like in Copenhagen, just happened to meet very famous opera singer who was at my favorite confectionery there. So we met her and her family, and they are in the book on Copenhagen.
Very nice.
So it's just, wow, so many wonderful. In fact, two opera singers, one male, one female, both of them, and then her family, was with them, and it was just like amazing. And people I know are gonna be so thrilled about having just both a little girl and a little girl of color to be able to give to their children. And it's not only for girls, it's also for boys, because boys need to see, oh, wow, yeah, let me read this story about this girl. She went to Paris. Oh, let me read this story because she's going to go on safari too. So, yeah, it'll be like, Lori Leak in Botswana, she's going to meet some lions.
Yeah. And just to show little boys too that little girls are capable.
Yes.
We don't have to be rescued all the time.
Yes, don't have to be rescued at all. I don't think Lori Leak will let anybody rescue her from anything. She just goes in and she is really like me. Just drive into the storm, or get in the car and just, you might be scared, but go ahead and as you say, there's a phrase, and I won't curse on the camera, but it says, do the D thing.
Do the dang thing.
Yeah.
PG it up a little.
Yeah. And it's true. You just got to go ahead and you just got to do it.
Yeah.
And I really do believe in a life like that. This all helps you to make your life and make your dreams come true. I still have dreams that I want for my life.
It doesn't ever stop, really.
No, it really doesn't. Mine, actually, I have a pretty long list, so it's just that I'm crossing things off one by one and getting, so now we're up to really going to boost Lori Leak and get these courses out, the legacy course, working from anywhere and leave a legacy, and really get the spirituality aspect out there for people. I'm going to launch a podcast, launching a podcast. It's called Breakthrough. I started it actually very low in 2015, but now just get serious and put Breakthrough out there. And from there, bring that into another form, bringing together all those people that I interview. And I'm getting great interviews already that I'm putting in the can, that I'm going to, put this up episode after episode after episode. And my goal is, I want to have 1,000 of them out there in like 3 years, to have 1,000 episodes out there, just really put it out there. And all of this is so that this is all running because I'm going to be this multi-millionaire married mother, because I want to get married finally. I know some people in my family are saying, why aren't you married? Okay. So I want to be married. I want to have this money flowing in that's mine, but not so that I can, I want to be like the back. That's my intention. I really am very much the, what is it called? The feminine female.
Mm-hmm.
That money, my money, is the catastrophic backup money. And if I say, I want to sing, but I want the breadwinner kind of guy. Yeah, I'm all about the masculine man, masculine male who, come on in and protect and provide. I'll take it, because I know I can protect and provide on my own. But hey, if you want to do that for me, then you got me, okay? And I really want to adopt 2 babies. and foster. Well, I won't say the whole number because the men out there will panic. But let's just say I want to foster. I do want to foster
Multiple.
5 kids
Okay.
over a few years. I'd like to foster 5 kids, but I want to adopt 2 first. So I really want to be this mom to this large family, write my books, maybe teach online a couple of hours a day, but primarily have my energy for my husband and my kids. I want to be married and take care of those kids and a husband and have a nice home. And yeah, that for me, because I've been out there. I have done the career thing, and I've done my thing. You know, I don't have to find myself. My mother said I was an old woman when I was 6. So let's just say I probably found myself at 4. So I've always been very directed. I've always known what I wanted. And I've done the things that I've wanted to do. So I don't feel like this need that I've got to compete and have a career too along with you and da-da-da-da. Now I do. That's my thing. I want to be home with the family. And everyone has their own pace. But I will tell you about the 5 kids. Earlier I did say about, I blew the whistle on child abuse. There are, and this is just my heart, because there were 5 children in the house, and they were physically abused in front of me, and unbeknownst to me at the time, one of them was being sexually abused. Every day she was being raped. And it just tears my heart apart that those 5 foster children had to live a life like that. And I know what some of them didn't even live very long as adults because of what went on there. They were treated very horribly. I didn't even realize it at the time. It was traumatizing for me to have to witness it. And later, then when I became an adult in my early 20s, and I came back to the house and I saw this was happening, I extricated myself as soon as I could, and then I blew the whistle, and because there were 3 more kids there, and I just thought I can't. I have to save. There were 2 boys and a girl. The girl ended up being adopted by the perpetrator, and the 2 boys got removed. And I remember I would meet with them in the mornings on the way to school, secret meetings. How are you? How are you doing? Are you okay? What happened yesterday? And just, I can't do anything, but I want you to know, that I love you, and that somebody does care that you're alive. So I'm hoping to this day that those 2 boys were able to grow up, and that they were able to remember somebody said something, somebody did something. So it's important to me to be able to foster some kids and give them a much better life than they've been set out to have, to see what wonderful human beings they can grow up into. And I want to give them music lessons, and I want to take them traveling, and I want to give them, they need a special boost in life, because losing your family, and being put into foster care, that's just got to be horrible. And so I just want to make sure I know there's 5 kids out there that, I
would love that.
Yeah.
And to stay together.
Yeah. And be able to stay together. Yeah. And I don't know if I don't know if there's family of 5, but usually there's family of 3, and they're very hard to adopt out because no one wants to take 3. I'll take 3. That's the first. I'll take 3. I'll take the 3. So if, the state will say, okay, yeah, we've got 3 kids in the system, brothers and sisters, who, they really would like to stay together, I'll take them.
And then you can write books about their triumphs in life.
Yeah. Hey, I can't wait to see. Some of them may be authors. Who knows? I'm so excited, because even I dream every day and visualize these things I want. And I think so much about those 5 kids, like, wow, what are their lives going to be like as a result of being able to be fostered? And then if I can adopt them before they're 18, so that they don't just age out of the system, that would be awesome. It's like, what are these 5 human beings going to be? Wow. A scientist, a rock guitarist, I don't know, a world adventurer, who knows what they're going to be, but it's just, there might be a school teacher, whatever. They're just going to be, wow. They're just going to be. And it's going to be good, you
Yeah.
know, because at least someone gives them a chance.
I love that. So, where can people find Lori Leeks?
Lori Leek, and it's Lori Leek, L-E-A-K. Lori Leek. So Lori Leek Travels to Paris actually has her own website, and it is lorileak.com.
Okay.
LORILEAK.com. So you can find Lori Leek there.
And Lori Leek in Paris is available now.
It's available now, and you can actually, through the site or directly, you can find it on Amazon. It's also I self-published it through lulu.com, Lulu.com. So you can either one of those three places and you'll end up getting it. So of course, I think it like really boosts me if you buy it on Amazon. So buy it on Amazon and write me a wonderful review. You know, tell me about, you know.
5 stars.
Yeah, they can get that. And if you want to contact me about any of the entrepreneurial courses, and just in the future catch the podcast and things about being a spiritually aligned person, that's BarrettC for Clemmensen, Powell, POWELL.com, BarrettCPowell.com. That's where you can find that. And I will make sure, so if you go there, you can actually, you'll be able to sign up on the mailing list, and I will send out several mailings over the next couple of days, making sure, you know, that I catch people about being able to get the free booklets, and I will make sure I put up links about for your Millionaire morning, so that you can have that. And actually what I'll do is I'll make a page on BarrettCPowell.com, and it'll be your Millionaire morning.
Love it.
So it'll be BarrettCPowell.com/your Millionaire morning. So have that on there, and then you can order the book, and then also about the Hygge book. So they can definitely catch me there. And I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and primarily I'm using Instagram, secondarily Facebook, thirdly Twitter. So mostly I would say catch me on Instagram and Facebook, and it's all the same handle, at Barrett C. Powell. So at BarrettCPowell. So that's, yeah, I hang out there, and I try to post pretty much every single day. But I don't live online, though I love the people that I meet online, because you should also take care of yourself and have an offline life.
All right. Well, thank you so much for discussing everything that you did today. I hope our fans, viewers, guests at home or in the office, wherever you are, were inspired. And I think the couple of the biggest takeaways was giving a voice to those who've been silenced, working anywhere to help serve the world, and then stop complaining and start making solutions for things.
Yes.
So, like her on Instagram, Facebook. We didn't even get to talk about Women Speak, but you know what? We will do something for that.
Yeah.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a couple last comments here. Jennifer McCallion, hey ladies, hi. And then Thomas, love the way the set looks, super cool and well done on the lighting. Kerry must have helped. This is all me. Just want to shine the halo there. Yeah, and I look pretty in pink.
She's absolutely fab.
Yes, this is.
But you know, I should say something about Women Speak really quick. I'm teaching women to speak because you know, I'm a former journalist, so I'm accustomed to just getting out there and speaking. Grab that mic, say what you got to say, because you only have 3 minutes or 30 seconds to get your message across. And so I'm launching on the 30th an event. It's at $25, and it's for women. It's called Women Speak, and Women Speak San Diego. And we are meeting to launch this. It will be a program where you will twice a month be able to work on your speaking skills and have practice speaking. And at the end of the 18 months, you will be a certified speaker. And we're talking, you'd be able to do this for your business, for your personal, so you don't have to have a grand reason. It can even just be on a personal level to be able to find your voice, speak your message, be effective. So I hope that you will register, because it's happening on May 30th, and it's $25, and it's a limited space also. So I can only take in something like, I think we have capacity for 50 women at the introductory event, and then for each circle, it is for the circle that's going to meet twice a month. The first one's going to meet on Wednesdays, and that's only 20 women per circle. So essentially, if all 50 women want to enroll, then that means I'm going to be running 3 circles, but I need to know that ahead of time that you want to do this. And then it's like $99 a month for the meetings. It's sort of, some people kind of said for an easy way, it is a different way of speaking. Toastmasters is very masculine way of speaking and approaching, and Woman Speak is actually a different approach. You will still be extremely effective in getting your message across to any kind of an audience on any topic, but it is the teaching.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And that's also on Instagram.
That's
and
also
Facebook.
on Instagram. I actually have that under another Insta handle. That's under Woman Speak San Diego. But you can also go to Barrett C. Powell and just ask about Woman Speak, and I'll direct you over. But Woman Speak San Diego, at Woman Speak San Diego on Instagram, you can also find out about Woman Speak San Diego there. And then also I have a URL. It's womanspeak/Barrett C. Powell.
There we go. Lovely. So yeah, check all of those things out. Check Barrett out on Facebook, then check Women Speak out on Facebook. Go to Amazon and order Laurie Leak, and stay posted for the Millionaire Morning
Your
booklets.
Millionaire Morning. Yes.
Yes.
Your Millionaire Morning.
All right. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great week. I will see you back in 2 weeks from today. So be great, everyone.